Hey guys, it's Connor. I have not made a video in a few months, but I will start back up soon, just college and stuff. But I got recommended a video a few days ago by this guy named Dunn. I've never heard of him before. He just kind of came up in my YouTube algorithm, and it was specifically his video. It's like my experience with SARMs, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And in it, he talks about it's a college student. He goes to college. He's a sophomore, I believe. So he's a young guy. He's like me. I mean, it's my 5th year in college. Just because my major a little bit difficult, take a little bit longer. But he's a sophomore in college, and he talks about how he did a cycle of Ostarine. I think it was like 20 milligrams for a few weeks, and then he upped the dosage, and then he did that for a few more weeks, and then he cycled off. And I think the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I feel like these, like, I appreciate that he came forward and he's like, yeah, you know, I'm doing SARMs, doing steroids, whatever. But I feel like just like a lot of these people just don't know what the hell they're doing, and they're potentially screwing themselves up, and screwing up their health and screwing up their life, and they just don't know what they're doing. For the most part, I imagine a small cycle of Ostarine, anything oral. I imagine it's oral. He doesn't look like he'd be injecting it, but I don't even know if you can inject Ostarine. That just goes to show I don't know too much. But I mean, like, for all you know, just any Joe Blow off the street, you're taking like a SARM or something, and for all you know, you could have some blood work, some health marker that could really screw you up. And to quote, more plates, more dates, you might have some deleterious health consequences as a result of just taking something that you might not even think would do that much damage to you. And there's a few points that he kind of talks about in the video. 100% agree that they really need to mainstream steroid usage. Like, personally, I feel that, you know, that the most athletes, like NFL, MLS, you know, soccer, boxing, all that jazz, all the pro sports, pro athletes are all, you know, probably juicing to some point. And so just legalize it at this point, and like stop making it like a taboo thing. So I agree with him on that. But it's just, the issue comes is if you do that, you're going to open up the floodgates, and people are retarded and they don't know what the hell they're doing. So he makes the analogy to like alcohol. Like, you know, you got people going out and fucking up their liver, or screwing up their liver. I apologize, I didn't mean to cuss. Screwing up their liver, drinking, and doing all that. But I don't think that's a good comparison, because you injecting a hormone that is potentially doing a fair amount of change to your body versus you just drinking alcohol, that's a bit different. Maybe along the lines of smoking or doing legitimate drugs is where to make the corollary. I wouldn't really make your corollary with drinking, because, you know, well, there's people getting, you know, college students all around the nation are getting toasted on the weekends and, you know, vomiting everywhere and all that jazz. I still think that's different than injecting steroids, doing SARMs, doing orals, anything like that, because you're having more long-reaching hormonal consequences versus you just, you know, waking up the next morning after being drunk and you're just like, you know, passed out, whatever, and your head's not in the right place. I think there's a difference with that. So I kind of disagree with him on that point. And then additionally, I feel like these kids, like I mentioned earlier, just don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, if for me, like, I'm 22, like, you know, maybe I want to do steroids, maybe I don't, I have no idea. I'm going to continue to compete naturally, and I really want to get a natural pro card through the OCB. And so I may do steroids in the future, but that would be something that I'd really have to kind of dig into and understand what it's going to do. And because there are some serious implications with that choice. And I think, you know, if you open up that opportunity for people to make serious decisions very early on, without too much mainstream information, without, you know, being knowledgeable or offered really any sources, of information and ways to kind of research and understand, then I feel like they're going to make poorly informed decisions. So, like, if I had a kid who can't, like, if I had Ben Dunn, if Ben Dunn came to me and said, I want to do, I want to do like a cycle of Austrian, I'm like, okay, well, let's hold on. How about you go watch More Plates, More Dates, go watch Greg Doucette, go watch all these, YouTubers who openly speak about doing steroids, Brandon Harding, I don't know, I'm just throwing out names, but especially More Plates, More Dates. Go watch the entirety of More Plates, More Dates video catalog, aside from the hair loss stuff. But I mean, even then, watch that just to see, you're going to potentially lose your hair if you have the right genes for it. Just so you understand, like, the science behind it. You don't have to be able to, quote the chemical chain of testosterone or testosterone XYZ, but you should at least have a fairly deep understanding of what these hormones and what these drugs are going to do to your body. It's not just going to be like, herder, me pop Austrian, me have big bicep. Let's think deeper than that. Let's really try to dig down and be smart, because, I see all these videos, is like these people talking about, all these cycles, and they didn't have their diet in place, didn't have their training in place, they didn't have all these things in place, and they just hopped on the sauce and they fucked themselves up. And so, doing it in college, like Ben Dunn, or doing it in high school when you're really not that set up to be independent, and really not, capable of making, really informed decisions, and then being able to sustain yourself and being independent, that's not the best place to do it. Like, when you're in college, you were specifically there to, this is my view, you were there to get a degree, whether you're paying for the degree, the government's paying for the degree, your parents are paying, whoever's paying for the degree, you were there to get a degree. And so you don't want to distract yourself with, having to worry about steroids and injecting and all that. And additionally, like, that's just another cost. That's another financial burden you're going to have to take on when you're already, broke. Like, I'm broke as a college, like, I'm a college student, I'm broke. Like, I have my money for food, my money for gas, I go to work, I have to work a job in order to kind of pay for school and everything. And if you were like, yeah, here's, go get on the sauce, I'm like, I literally, I can't afford it. Like, so I feel like you make poor decisions if you just, when you're in a bad financial situation, because you could do Ostarine, or you could just, man up, just do testosterone. Just do a cycle of testosterone, do 200 milligrams or something, 300 milligrams as your very first cycle. Do blood work, do all that, and be as safe as possible in a good financial situation. But you got to do that, not when you're sitting there living off ramen, sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night because you're cramming for your tests and you got no money. Do that when you're out of college. Do that, when you're, set up independently on your own. And I just feel like, Ben should have really, done a deeper critique of himself. And like, I understand, like, towards the end of the video, his key point was, listen, I live for the gym, my body is what really gives me confidence. And I think he said, doesn't even paraphrase, but it was like, if you told me to take 5 years off my life by doing Austrian or doing, serum SARMs or steroids, just to look better and feel more confident in my 20s, he would take that. I understand, confidence is a worry, but there's still a better way to do it. I'd say just like, listen, man, hold off, just keep going to the gym, just keep, as a natural, develop a good training routine, develop it such that, you're training hard, you're training, like Greg says, you're training harder than last time. Do that. Get your nutrition in place, get your sleep in place, so you're sleeping well, eating well, training hard. And then when you're off college, when you're 23, 24, you're on your own, you got a job, you got that job because you got a degree in college, you're now on your own, you're doing that, doing whatever the hell you want. Now's the time. Okay, good. You can start on steroids. And you know what? You've had a good training base. You understand what to eat. You know how to sleep well. You have funds to pay for it. You're in the perfect position to do it. And now you've had, at a minimum, assuming you started lifting like in college at the end of high school or something, you've had a minimum of 4 years of good, solid growth and development as a person and then as a lifter. And so you know, once you start hopping on the sauce, you're gonna grow exponentially. Versus if you're, you know, just in college and you're not, you know, completely focused on that, you know, and, you know, you're just not completely aware of everything, then you may just not be as efficient as possible with what you're doing. Because listen, whether or not you're taking 5 years off your life, if you're going to take five years off your life, do you want to, you know, make those, make that trade for a better 20s, make that as efficient and maximize that trade as much as possible? I would think so. So you don't want to shortchange yourself by taking it when you're in a bad position, and when you're taking it when you're just really not prepared and you don't understand it. Because you could just take an Austrian cycle, yeah, and you could fuck up your liver because it's an oral, imagine. Or you could just wait a bit, get the fundamentals, get a good solid foundation built, and then just do a low cycle of testosterone, and then go from there. And I feel personally that you'd be in that much of a better position. So this video just kind of went everywhere, but, you know, I just saw the Ben Dunn thing, and I was like, listen, you know, another kind of college student, another person needs to talk about it. And this is just like this is my view. I'm a college student. I'm a natty guy. I've competed in a single show, so I feel like I have just a little bit of, you know, kind of say so behind this. Obviously, I've never done steroids, but that's just kind of my views. So for all of you who are kind of tuning in, who are, I guess, returning subscribers, then get ready. This winter, we're going to have a nice, some growing season. I'm going to do a growing series, kind of. I'll do an update video of, like, my body right now, post-show, because the show's back in August now. It's like November. It's like mid-November right now. So, but yeah, I just saw that video, and I thought I'd, you know, kind of share my thoughts and opinions. So thanks for watching, and y'all have a great night, great morning, good afternoon. Loves and kisses.